I have found that one of the most important ingredients to quality car repair, whether you're repairing it yourself or having it repaired, is to use good quality parts. That's why I've been using and recommending Napa parts for many years. They fit, they work, and they last, and they have the Napa name backing that up. Professionals do not like having to do a job over, and that's why so many professional shops use Napa Auto Parts. My guess is that you don't want to do the job over either, and that's why you should use Napa Parts also. So for a Napa Auto Parts store near you, go to NapaOnline.com and search for the store that is most convenient for you. You'll also see a lot of neat specials and some very useful information. So get the good stuff. Get Napa Auto Parts.
Welcome to the C Auto Show. Each week we give you a chance to get free advice, tips, and information about your car, truck, or SUV. So sit back and relax. Standing by live at the CCB studios are experts Aaron Clements and Ryan Mooney.
And we are here to give you information on ways to make your car, truck, or SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money. And we are talking about warning lights. And we had also talked a little bit about vehicles that are going to be coming up for sale that have been repaired after flood damage.
Right.
Want to be real careful with those. So we'll be talking about both of those subjects in the first segment here. And what's one of the next most important lights that we might want to talk about, John Ryan?
Next in line, we've touched on oil pressure, we've done battery alternator and coolant. So probably maybe red brake light, ABS, traction control lights.
Yeah, all of those lights are very important. If you see a red brake light come on, could be that you have a issue. Now, of course, it could be something as simple as your emergency brake.
Yeah, don't overlook that, huh?
Yeah. You want to make sure that it's not something simple like that, but of course it could also mean that the brake fluid is low.
Mm-hmm. It could.
And of course the yellow
ABS light.
Yeah, the yellow ABS light when it comes on. Now, that particular light, it don't mean that you have to pull over to the side of the road or anything like that.
Well, you gave a clue. You said yellow.
Yeah, when it's yellow or amber, that means that you do have to have some caution there.
Right.
You do want to be aware that your anti-lock brake lights are not going to function when they act up, but you also you can go ahead and make your trip.
Right.
And just be aware. So, and also it's good to have a shop that you can call.
Right.
Let's say that a light comes on, and I get this call quite often. I'm sure you have over a period of time.
Yeah.
Someone riding down the road and a light comes on, they're not sure what to do. It's great to have a shop that you have a relationship with.
It is.
That you can call the person at that shop and say, listen, this particular item happened on my car.
Or what is this light? Yeah.
Yeah, what does this mean and what should I do?
Right, yeah. That is important because you want to know exactly what that light means. That way you can, of course, like we mentioned, if depending on the light, you may need to get it addressed very quickly. So.
Yeah, exactly. And in one place that you can find a shop that you can build a relationship with is at NapaAutoCare.com. They have a find a shop feature.
Yeah.
And you can go in and do the search. There's a find a shop
search for the area you're in. Yeah.
And you could get to know them a little bit. You make a phone call, see if you communicate on the telephone real well with them, and then you can go in, make a visit, and say hello. You might even decide to have a small service performed.
Yeah, exactly. We always recommend doing an oil change with a service center first to see if you communicate well and if it's fits your needs basically.
Yeah, be sure to leave them all your contact information and things like that if you're leaving the vehicle with them, and if you're waiting on the vehicle, it gives you an opportunity to sit there and wait and kind of look around and see the equipment that they have.
Yeah. And like we mentioned too, it's you wouldn't take a Mercedes to a Ford dealer or a Ford repair facility, so it's just important to know what they work on, what you have, and
So look around, see if there's vehicles like you said that are similar to what your vehicles are.
Right.
And if you see vehicles that are similar to yours and you communicate well with them, that might be a place that you might want to get their phone number and be able to, if things like that come up, if you have a problem, say an anti-lock brake light were to come on, and traction control is very similar to the same thing. What does the traction control do?
Well, the traction control is tied into all those systems, and basically, if the traction control light comes on, it's it's not agreeing with something it sees. It's just like any other system that has several different sensors that monitor wheel speed, brake input, throttle input, that kind of thing. And if it sees something that it does not agree, it turns that light on. And all these lights are just letting you know that this system or this item is not functioning properly. So that's why they, of course, put the lights on.
So when we talked about it a little earlier, the main lights that you look for, if you see an oil light comes on, you need to do something pretty much immediately or as quickly as you possibly can. Same way with an alternator light. You have a little bit more time, but you need to do something reasonably fast. And then if something, if your brake light comes on, your temperature light, if it comes on, you need to do something very quickly.
Yeah.
Red brake light, you need to do something reasonably fast.
Yeah.
But if the amber anti-lock brake light comes on, it's not something that you have to act on immediately.
Yeah, it's just basically letting you know that, say, in the event of a rain or something like that, good storm, that you're not going to have that added safety feature, which would be anti-lock brakes. It's just not going to function. The regular brakes are still there. It's going to stop just like it would have in 1970. You know, it's just not going to have anti-lock brakes.
Yeah, you don't have to ruin your trip,
right,
and do that. I want to remind everyone, if you are listening to this and on a Saturday morning, 8 to 10, give us a call and ask your automotive question, and that is 706-863-5800, and we would be very happy to answer your automotive questions. Now, we always like to talk about a car gadget about this time.
Yeah.
But instead of a car gadget, what we talk about is an actual car that may be coming out in the very near future. Rumor has it that, get this now, you'll like this.
Yeah.
Apple is building an electric vehicle right now.
That's awesome.
They're in the process of doing that, and the car is being built they're actually testing it in a lot of places, and Apple's building the operating system, not actually the car itself.
Right.
They'll be working with BMW on the operating system that they have, and they're working with BMW to design and build the new vehicle. And about the only certainty is that Apple's keeping their plans completely quiet and under wrap, and they're leaving the public and media to speculate what they might be building.
Yeah, just kind of letting them hang with it, huh?
Yeah, so that is bound to be something really neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Discussions around the center around an Apple project labeled Titan will be the name of it, and until recently it employed a team of about 600 people, but they are reporting now that they're increasing that to about 1,800 people.
All right.
And
so they're getting serious.
Yeah, and these will be very high technology experts that will be building it, and it's a likely sign that the project's been given the go-ahead.
All right, that's exciting. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that's going to be really neat. And individuals from Mercedes, Fiat, Chrysler, Tesla, Samsung, and A123 battery systems have all been brought on board also. So this is going to be a big undertaking. Now, my question is, if they build an Apple car, how are they going to build a whole car with only one button?
That's very true.
Yeah.
And will there be a droid car?
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Now, that's something that may very well come out. So that is unusual that they're doing that. But there's a lot of neat stuff coming out in the automotive industry, because we talked a little bit before about the anti-lock brakes. We have vehicles talking to vehicles now. They'll be working with that more and more as years goes on. If you're going to an intersection and both vehicles sense that there's going to be a collision,
crash detection,
they'll both do what they need to do to avoid that.
And this is kind of the time of year that a lot of new things come out. Of course, you remember this week's SEMA in Vegas, so a lot of the different things come out. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of big things going on in Las Vegas this time of year having to do with SEMA. A lot of the new technology, and we'll be talking about that
kind of debuts,
during the next week that we have about some of the really neat stuff that will be coming out. Now, we were talking about flood cars.
Oh yeah.
All right, now, and I call them flood cars because there's various degrees of flood cars.
What do you want to call them? Boats with wheels or what?
Yeah, cars that have been repaired that in some cases maybe shouldn't have been repaired.
Yeah,
and you want to be careful not to get one of these that maybe hadn't been either repaired properly or was too far gone to repair.
Yeah, because there is a fine line. Like you mentioned, it just kind of depends on how deep it was, because some vehicles, the modules and computers are located, we'll say, lower in the car, which of course that car would be totaled rather quickly, if every module was bad on it. Some of them are located in different areas, so they can somewhat repair them and do the best they can to get them going. So
yeah, and like you mentioned, a lot of these modules, you have ABS modules,
Right.
anti-lock brake modules, and all that are about floorboard height, and
Yeah.
some are even under the seat.
yep.
And some are in the console. And if it gets to that area, that's when the area comes in that you have to be very careful that car may have some major problems.
Yeah.
And many times they do get totaled, but many times there's ways that they can go in and
with something to relate, you drop your phone in a puddle and you dry it out. Well, it starts to work, but it will have bugs. In the next week or two, it's going to start doing crazy things. And it's the same thing it does to a car. So.
yeah. So a lot of these things that you thought would be repaired. Now, we didn't get an answer to our tech tip quiz a little earlier, so we do want to bring that back during the second hour. And of course, the winner
And
will
you even
receive,
dropped a clue, if I'm not mistaken.
I did drop a very good clue, and the winner will receive a prize package including a C Auto Show hat and coffee mug, and of course the C Auto Show I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz shirt, which
right.
is a really neat prize. And here it is. Miss Brown drives a beautiful 2010 Buick LaCrosse with a 3.6 V6 engine. And as she was driving, even though all of her engine warning lights were working correctly, a light failed to come on, and it cost her thousands of dollars. What light failed to come on and that cost her thousands of
Big time
dollars
money, yeah.
to repair? And if you're listening to this on Saturday morning, 8 to 10, then you can give us a call, and that's at 706-863-5800. We can answer your automotive questions also, and you may be the winner of a prize package.
Very good prize package.
Which include the I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz shirt. Okay, now another thing that we do want to mention, it has to do with the average age of vehicles.
Right.
That are going up. The average age of vehicles now, it continues to climb, and experts, now get this, there will be now by 2020, by the year 2020, there'll be 76 million vehicles in operation.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, that is huge. And 16 years ago, that there was only 35 million. Well, in 2002, there were only 35 million.
Wow.
So you're talking about roughly real close to
Huge
doubling.
increase, yeah, double
or more
increase.
than doubling in that length of time. So,
right.
and I think part of it is because the cars are being built better than before. That's a good sign.
Right.
But a lot of it also is people just taking better care of their cars
Yeah.
than ever been before. Let's go to the phones?
We're going to take a real quick break, then we can go to Ryan right as soon as we get back.
I think that's a perfect idea. And when we get back, we'll tell you what it means with the amber. If a picture of a little man with a ball in front of his head comes
Looks like
on.
Aaron.
Let you know that more when we return.
What's the smart way to buy a nice used car, Aaron?
You have two routes that you can go, Sherry. You can decide what you want and what you plan to spend. Then you can hit the internet to find a car, take your weekend or time off work, and go look for the car, and then hope that the person who's selling the car is honest and that the title is good, because once you buy it, you are on your own. The second way, my personal favorite, is to trust an honest and dependable professional who has been in the automobile business for over 30 years. And instead of spending your weekend looking at cars, you can ask your used car advisor to find a vehicle that you really want. If he doesn't already have it in stock, then you confidently buy the car from Philip Hawkins at Philip Hawkins Motor Company. Call 803-593-5990 or visit their showroom at 2000 Jefferson Davis Highway in Graniteville, South Carolina. For more information, go to hawkinsmc.com.
Thanks, Aaron. I'll call Philip Hawkins today.
Welcome to the CC Auto Show. This portion of the CC Auto Show is brought to you in part by the Napa Auto Care Centers near you. Regular maintenance is a key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a quality standard where independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE certified technicians that use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you might be. It's like having a friend everywhere you go. For a list of Napa Auto Care Centers near you, go to napaautocare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
Thanks for listening to the CNC Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two real live automotive maintenance and repair experts who actually work on all kinds of vehicles every week. So they're always up to date on what's happening in the automotive world. We'll be right back with more of the CNC Auto Show before you know it, so don't you dare touch that dial.
This entire piece of music is played with only two instruments, a right hand and a left hand. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life with hands-only CPR. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. Hands-only CPR is recommended by the American Heart Association, and it's incredibly easy and effective. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. The power to help save a life is in your hands. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
If you are looking for a Napa Auto Care Center to service and repair your vehicle, consider Nuttall Tire. Nuttall Tire is located at 2405 Millwood Avenue. Nuttall Tire are your tire experts, and they provide professional automotive services, including all major and minor repairs. Most repairs come with a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty with the Napa name to back it up. They have been providing automotive service to the Lexington, Dentsville, and surrounding areas for over 30 years. That's over 3 generations of family-owned and operated service. It's their family serving yours. Nuttall's Tire has a nice, comfortable waiting room with free Wi-Fi where you can relax with a cup of their fresh coffee, or they are happy to provide local shuttle service back to your home or office. To request a quote, make an appointment, or to learn more about Nuttall's Tire, give them a call at 803-254-7988 or visit their website at nuttalltire.com.
Now back to more of the CNC Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
And we do want to remind you, if you're listening to this Saturdays 8 to 10, just give us a call with your automotive questions, 706-863-5800. And if the amber light with the little ball, and of course, I've seen these red, though, before. They're red or amber, with the little ball in front of the man's face. That's an airbag light. And if it comes on or blinks, don't jump out of the car.
Yeah.
You don't have to jump out. It means that your airbag would not activate in an accident.
And that's the biggest thing we always get a question of, is it going to go off by itself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually the exact opposite. With that light illuminated, it's telling you it will not work, even in the event of an act.
In the system, it runs a circuit check. When you cut the key on, it runs through a complete circuit check to make sure there's continuity everywhere that it's supposed to have that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of fail-safe systems to where if it loses loses
information from one of the modules. Yeah,
exactly. It'll cut it on, and it'll let you know that it won't work. It'll cut the light on, and you just need to have the vehicle checked when you can.
That's right. You ready to go over a call?
I was born ready.
Oh, God. All right, let's go over to Ryan.
Good morning, Ryan. Welcome to the show. Hello, Ryan. Ryan, welcome to the CNC Auto Show. All right, we're not picking.
I'm gonna put him on hold. Let's try.
Let's go
try
to
Caesar.
Caesar. Good morning, Caesar, and welcome to the CNC Auto Show. Yeah, Caesar is not coming in. Caesar might be. These two might be trying to reach us on the through the internet. They need to dial 706-863-5800.
Okay.
Give us a call. And we'll be able to answer their automotive questions. Okay, we were talking about the airbag light on there as one of the lights that causes an issue that from time to time might come on.
Yeah.
And what you should do if the airbag light does come on. Mm-hmm. And that normally stores a trouble code.
It does, yeah.
Very much like a drivability computer code.
Right.
To where the technician would plug a piece of equipment up to it, and it would show a code stored inside.
It's important to mention, too, what kind of a piece of equipment, because the over-the-parts counter type quick scans, they only communicate with the car's engine control module, or PCM, ECM. So what you have to have is a scan tool that's capable of actually going into the module with the fault. In of course, this case would be the SRS unit or the airbag module, because again, you have to go to the module to pull that specific code out. So.
You do.
Yeah.
All right. And also we want to talk just a little bit about the other lights that we have mentioned before, on making sure that people know what to do when each light comes on.
Right.
Oil pressure light, you need to act immediately. Check. All right. Now, the one that we have not talked about is the check engine light, and that's probably the more common light that people see.
It's definitely the most common one that we see. But just like you mentioned, of course, it's an amber light. They're really the only thing with the check engine light to watch for is a blinking check engine light. On steady check engine light means that there's a sensor or an input, as we call it, that the vehicle just does not agree with. The cars are smart enough these days to actually plug in a known good value and, of course, keep the vehicle going down the road. Now, of course, there's other things that can cause it to stall out and shut off if the sensors aren't reading properly. But the biggest one to remember is if the check engine light is flashing, that means that there's a misfire present in the engine, which of course means that the engine is skipping and it's not running properly. The reason it flashes is because it's letting you know that you could be doing damage to the catalytic converter by being that there's a misfire there. It's actually dumping raw fuel into the exhaust system, which can actually melt down the catalytic converter, which is a very, very costly unit. Some vehicles have two, depending if it's a V6, V8. Some vehicles have one. Some of them are manifold mounted. Some of them are down in the exhaust. And again, they're just expensive. So that's the reason that light will blink.
Yeah. And some of the reasons, for instance, a light might come on. Let's say you're riding down the road and the vehicle, you've been driving for, say, 15, 20 minutes, and the computer is looking at the vehicle coolant temperature.
Right.
And it senses that, or it's sending a reading that the coolant temperature is, say, 100 degrees. Well, it knows if you've been riding that length of time,
well
that
above
the coolant
100.
has to be more than 100 degrees.
Right.
And so instead of taking a chance on and mixing the fuel as if the temperature was 100 degrees,
which would forget you, and I'll plug in this memory.
Exactly. It would go ahead and plug a reading in, and then it would cut the light on and let you know that there's a problem there. But the vehicle will still continue to run good.
Right.
And that's why so many times people come in and say, well, my check engine light's on.
But it's running like a champ.
Yeah, it's still running good. Well, the computer is compensating for a problem that's there.
Very, very smart control modules on these vehicles.
Yeah, and so they're able to do things. Same way with many times if the fuel, if you have either a really rich mixture going into the engine, well, the computer senses through the oxygen sensor that there's a rich mixture.
And so it starts pulling it back, leaning it out.
It'll change the fuel trim, short-term fuel trim and long-term fuel trim in a way to where the engine will still run good and still get reasonably well gas mileage and all that also.
Yeah,
so
they're amazing.
Yeah, so that's a thing that you have there. All right, we have our tech tip quiz on the table. Want to mention that if you have an answer to the tech tip quiz, you can give us a call.
I want to mention too, if you can mention the number one more time for Ryan and Caesar. For some reason, we did lose them.
Yeah, we did, and that number Saturday morning 8 to 10, 706-863-5800, and
I'd love to answer their questions.
Yeah, I'd love to answer those automotive questions. Just give us a call. And we were talking about the average age of
vehicles.
Vehicles now is increasing a huge amount from what we've seen before. And we have customers come in every single day with 175, 200,000, 250,000 miles.
Yeah, so many people can't believe that is our normal mileage interval or area that we see.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, every vehicle has at least that,
And we have, for instance, one that we're working on right now, and the vehicle has, if I'm not mistaken, it was 178,000 miles. We'll be doing the second timing belt on the vehicle coming up that has to be done, and of course they need things like a transmission service. The fluid exchange is very dirty. Original transmission, engine still sounds good, runs good, due for a maintenance tune-up.
Right.
And so we're doing a lot of work to this vehicle.
Right.
But in effect, what we're doing is this person will probably spend in the $2,000 range on having all of these items that need to be taken care of on the car. But you got to figure to go out and buy another vehicle like that, or even close to that, because it's an absolutely beautiful truck. It's a Toyota truck, and he uses it for work, and got some toolbox items on the back and things like that. Well, if he was to have to go get another truck like that,
you have to remember, what would it take to replace it?
Yeah, and so what he's looking at is not when he's spending that much money on the repairs of the vehicle, he's not looking at what the vehicle would sell for.
Right.
But he's
looking at what it can do for him.
Yeah, what that vehicle does for him as he's riding down the road. He's able to. It serves that purpose. He's able to keep all his tools. He's able to do the work, and plus he's doing things now that's making it safe and dependable. Yeah. So he won't have to turn around and do something break down later on.
Well, too, and we touch on this quite a bit. Is like you mentioned earlier about the 200,000 mile range. A lot of vehicles are due for their second timing belt, and so many people say, you know what, this thing's about wore out. I'm just going to let this timing belt go, and when it breaks, and we'll get a new one. Well, a timing belt is, sometimes costly repair, but the difference between a vehicle that has 250, 300,000 miles and it has a new timing belt on it, it still runs, it's still worth money. A vehicle that has 200, 225 and a broke timing belt is not worth anything. Yeah. So, it is money to invest in it, but it still runs, it still drives. It when your daily driver breaks down, it's still in the backyard, you can crank it up and still go to work. So I always urge people to really think hard on putting the money into it again.
And then if you do decide to get another car later on, you're not you have something to trade in,
right? Exactly.
Or you have something that you can sell. If you've taken really good care of it, you would feel really good about it.
Yeah, surely you're not going to push it into the dealership and trade it in. So I recommend fixing it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a real quick break coming up, and when we return, we do want to remind you, give us a call, 706-863-5800 if you're listening Saturday morning, 8 to 10. And when we return, we want to mention what the little squiggly lines, you got an amber light with two little squiggly lines running down through there. And also we'll be going to our phone calls right after we return from this break.
When buying a house, most people go to a real estate agent. That way, the agent can help them decide their budget, their needs, and their desires. The agent also helps them to understand the financing, insurance paperwork concerning the house, and make sure that it has a clear title and that you're aware of any known pre-existing conditions. Well, that's exactly what Philip Hawkins of Philip Hawkins Motor Company does with the nice, clean, quality used cars that he sells. Philip and his team are true professionals that will let you make the decisions, but give you the information and guidance that you need to make a good, well-informed decision. Most people would not dream of buying a house without a real estate agent. Well, why buy a nice used car, truck, or SUV without Philip Hawkins? Philip Hawkins Motor Company is located at 2000 Jefferson Davis Highway in Graniteville, South Carolina. They also have a great website with pictures and lots of cars that are in stock at hawkinsmc.com, or you can give them a call at 803-593-5990.
Aaron Clements for Napa Auto Care Center.
Regular maintenance is the key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a high-quality standard whereby independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE-certified technicians who use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about, knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you may be.
Thanks, Aaron. For a list of Napa Auto Care Centers near you, go to napaautocare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
You're listening to the C Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two ASE certified master technicians who really appreciate you taking your time to join us today. We'll be right back with more from Aaron and John Ryan. So stay right here where you are for more great car care advice on the C Auto Show.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
If you need a truly professional automotive repair facility, Aaron Clements invites you to consider Wetzel Automotive.
That's right, Sherry. Wetzel Automotive is located at 2017 Augusta Road in West Columbia. As a designated Napa Auto Care Center, they follow a strict code of ethics so customers know up front what to expect. They feature ASC certified technicians and a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty on most repairs, and they have the Napa name to back it up. The Wetzel's Automotive team has the training and state-of-the-art equipment it takes to perform all minor and major repairs, including the more complex issues that require the true diagnostic skills in order to recommend the correct parts or repair the first time. And if you plan to keep your car for many years, they will keep you informed of preventative maintenance services to help keep your vehicle safe and dependable for many years to come.
Call Wetzel's Automotive at 803-739-2999. That's 803-739-2999.
Let's go back to the CCB studios in downtown Augusta with more of today's C Auto Show. Here's Aaron Clements and Ryan Mooney.
And we are ready. And if the amber light comes on with a picture of a car with two little squiggly lines behind it, it means that your traction control system's been deactivated by the computer. Just drive carefully on slick roads until it's repaired.
Yep, I agree totally.
And are we ready to go to the phones?
Yeah, let's go over to Larry.
Good morning, Larry, and welcome to the CNC Auto Show.
Okay, I've got I'll make a guess at the answer to
all right, you're going to answer our text.
Larry, you got to go in with confidence, though.
Yeah, let me read the question real quick because it's been a little bit since we had it. And the question was, Miss Brown drives a beautiful 2010 LaCrosse with a 3.6. As she was driving, even though all her warning lights were working correctly, a light failed to come on, and it cost her thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
What light failed to come on that cost her thousands of dollars? And Larry, all eyes are on you. Wait, we got a new Blue. Larry, I don't know if you know this, but we have this gentleman named Blue that comes in, and Blue is Blue is supposed to be here. That is Blue, and we are ready for the answer to our question, Larry.
Okay, I have to give it to you now?
Yeah, we're ready. All eyes are on you. You're on the stage, man.
Okay. In addition, I do have a question about a carburetor. So
okay.
I'll take a shot at it in the dark. Uh-huh. And it's probably wrong because you said all the lights were working. Mm-hmm. But if I'd say if the oil engine light came on, that would be expensive if you didn't get that.
Oh, Larry, I hate to tell you what happens when someone don't answer it correctly. This is what happens. Oh, no. But we appreciate you trying. Okay, and what's your question?
Let me ask you a question now. Please. Okay, I had a conversation with a mechanic who's working on my 79 Ranchero, mm-hmm. which has a 351M engine.
All right.
And that, of course, had a 2-barrel carburetor on it. And, so what the upshot is that we have replaced that carburetor, the intake manifolds with an Edelbrook dual-plane aluminum intake manifold, and an Edelbrook 750 double pumper, not double pumper, 750 CFM carburetor Edelbrook, and then a multiple discharge unit, high discharge
ignition
distributor.
System?
Yeah.
And let's see, aluminum, high performance, water cooler, and electric fan, 2200 CFM electric fan. So, in any case, and I'm dueling it out with its balancing tubes. And so the questions come up that there's a calculation where you can take the number of cubic inches and divide them by 2, and then that number, and take about the number of maximum RPMs you're likely to rev up to, and you could say maybe 6,000, and multiply that times the constant, 1728, and you get an answer, and then you multiply these two products together, and that gives you another. It gives you another result, and so this result, after you calculate what the percentage of efficiency is, say you have a 75% setup, if you're lucky, and then you get an answer. And so when I do that calculation, I end up with a CFM number for the carburetor that's about 450 something. And then so mathematically, if you listen to what the engineers say, that's what size CFM carburetor that you need. However, as you recall in the beginning, I put in a 750. Now, so here we are at what the math says against versus what the old, wily, salty mechanic says, and he says, I don't care, this will work great, and with all these other high-performance items on the car. Oh, and it has a high-performance cam in it, too. Not a really, like, racing cam, but
Let me find out if John Ryan, if we might be able to...
that's what I was going to mention. Larry, what you're adding is, of course, a lot of airflow in that engine also. The cam changes the carburetor specs. Of course, the intake manifold, that's a dual-plane manifold. It's going to be pulling in more air. So just like you've now got more air in the engine, you want more fuel, so you need a bigger CFM carburetor. One thing I always typically do is do a lot of research, and that 351 AM modified, a lot of people run a 750. Some run 650, some run 750. So I think that's a perfect carburetor for that one. I really do.
I think it would run good on there also.
Yeah,
and just so we'll know, I'm the type person that with that Ranchera, I would love to see that original.
Aaron wants to see a factory air cleaner.
I would love to see that factory carburetor with the factory distributor and everything. Just still have the Ford stickers on them.
Yeah,
that to me is beautiful.
Well, you can still do all that, and you can cut the hood out and put a blower on it.
But also, I love seeing the other ones, but I love seeing them both ways.
Absolutely.
Okay, where are we going to, John Ryan?
All right, Aaron, let's jump over to Bob.
Fantastic, and good morning, Bob, and welcome to the CNC Auto Show.
Thank you, fellas. Hope it isn't as involved as the last call.
Well, everything's good. We appreciate all calls.
All right. Got the tire sensor monitor on my Explorer Sport Track. It comes on periodically, and it doesn't matter what road I'm driving on sometimes, 50 miles, 100 miles, even around town. And I set the reset light, then the little tire emblem comes on blinking. Sometimes that goes steady. I've had it checked everywhere, and I thought maybe they had sensors inside the wheels, and I know they do, but then the people tell me that I've had to look at it, say it's all tied to the ABS system. They flash the ABS system, and they say it's fine. The other day I went to a tire place that I deal with, and they took a sensor that they ran around the rim of the tire and checked, according to them, the sensors, and they said they were all fine. But it just continues to do that.
Okay, Bob, that to my knowledge, and of course 2008, that's a fairly new vehicle. Those are still what they call a band tire sensor. A lot of people look at a Ford wheel because Ford's one of the only ones that does this, but most of the wheel or valve stem, on a wheel where you put the air in are now a solid mounted sensor. And there's of course a nut there that secures it. And Ford doesn't do it that way. They still have a rubber valve stem, still kind of looks like a regular tire, but around the wheel is this ginormous hose clamp, for lack of better words, that's got a sensor on it. And the tool that they took around, and we call it ping each sensor, basically it looks for it, it pulls in its ID, and it actually monitors the tire sensor. So what that means is he has a fault with one of those sensors, and it's going to be a matter of time to figure out which one is the problem. So
Okay.
Shut her down, Aaron.
All right. It's time for the another break, and we'll be right back. And if you have a question about your car, and it's Saturday morning, 8 to 10, give us a call, 706-863-5800, and we'll be back, and we'll go over a few random lights that might come on, like the TPMS.
Yeah, we'll mention a little bit more about that one.
Yes, we will. We'll be right back.
What's the smart way to buy a nice used car, Aaron?
You have two routes that you can go, Sherry. You can decide what you want and what you plan to spend. Then you can hit the internet to find a car, take your weekend or time off work, and go look for the car, and then hope that the person who's selling the car is honest and that the title is good, because once you buy it, you are on your own. The second way, my personal favorite, is to trust an honest and dependable professional who has been in the automobile business for over 30 years. And instead of spending your weekend looking at cars, you can ask your used car advisor to find a vehicle that you really want. If he doesn't already have it in stock, then you confidently buy the car from Philip Hawkins at Philip Hawkins Motor Company. Call 803-593-5990 or visit their showroom at 2000 Jefferson Davis Highway in Graniteville, South Carolina. For more information, go to hawkinsmc.com.
Thanks, Aaron. I'll call Philip Hawkins today.
Aaron Clements for Napa Auto Care Center.
Regular maintenance is the key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a high-quality standard whereby independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE-certified technicians who use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about, knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you may be.
Thanks, Aaron. For a list of Napa Auto Care Centers near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
Thank you for sharing your morning with us right here on the C Auto Show, hosted by Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two ASC certified master technicians who believe in helping you make your car run better, last longer while saving you money, and having fun all at the same time. We'll be right back soon, so keep listening.
Can you tell if the leftovers from this dinner party are beginning to grow bacteria that could lead to severe diarrhea, vomiting, and stomach cramps? Listen. Can't, can you? You can't see it either. Make sure your leftovers are as safe as they are delicious. Get them into the refrigerator as soon as possible and transfer them into shallow containers. Spoiled leftovers can make you very sick, or worse. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year, and roughly 3,000 will die. But you can keep your family safer by chilling food promptly and properly. Learn more about this and other important information. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. That's foodsafety.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
If you are looking for a Napa Auto Care Center to service and repair your vehicle, consider Nuttall Tire. Nuttall Tire is located at 2405 Millwood Avenue. Nuttall Tire are your tire experts, and they provide professional automotive services, including all major and minor repairs. Most repairs come with a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty with the Napa name to back it up. They have been providing automotive service to the Lexington, Dentsville, and surrounding areas for over 30 years. That's over 3 generations of family-owned and operated service. It's their family serving yours. Nuttall's Tire has a nice, comfortable waiting room with free Wi-Fi where you can relax with a cup of their fresh coffee, or they are happy to provide local shuttle service back to your home or office. To request a quote, make an appointment, or to learn more about Nuttall's Tire, give them a call at 803-254-7988 or visit their website at nuttalltire.com.
Let's go back to the CCB studios in downtown Augusta with more of today's CNC Auto Show. Here's Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
All right, there are lots of other lights that can come on your vehicle, and again, what the vehicle's trying to do is talk to you.
Yep, it is.
And that's
probably soon it will too.
Yeah, and a lot of them do give you message displays, and
right.
Some of them will say a few words to you. Now, eventually, they'll probably just say things like, "I'm telling you to pull over," and things along those lines. And you could probably choose a man's voice or a female voice to tell you to pull over or what to do.
Imagine that Apple car will have Siri in it.
Oh yeah, and it'll probably have a way to where you can scroll down when the light comes on. You can push a button and it'll display what to do, or either, like you mentioned, tell you what to do. But some of the other lights that might come on is you have the overdrive light.
Oh yeah,
and some cars, when a problem comes up in overdrive, it'll flash the overdrive light.
And then, of course, if you select overdrive off, it will also come on.
Yeah, that'll do that. And then there's, of course, vehicle steering lights that might come on.
Of course, a lot of vehicles have electronic power steering. It's, of course, a picture of a little steering wheel somewhere here on the, matter of fact, right there. Second to the top on the right is a steering wheel, and basically what that means is there's a malfunction in the steering assist for the electric motor.
And a lot of them, when they a limp home mode for the steering system might mean that it would be hard,
right?
Harder than normal. You might get a little bit of assist, but not very much assist.
And some even only allow no assist while driving, and then even if there's a fault, it'll still give you some assist in parking.
And mention what electronic power steering means.
It's okay. Of course, everybody's used to a big power steering pump and a rack assembly, and of course lines, fluid, quite a detailed system. Now they have kind of gone to a electric power steering system. Some just simply have an electronic motor on top of the rack and pinion that steers it left and right. Some have an electronic power steering pump, which still, of course, has a fluid in it. It's not really something that's serviceable. A lot of them are sealed units, so that obviously if there's a leak, you have a problem with that unit, you're going to be replacing it. So that's kind of what a lot of vehicles have gone to. It's pretty neat feel. It's neat because it can give you a lot of assist at idle. Almost one finger steering, and then it stiffens up going down the road, so that it, of course, gives you a little bit more of a heavy car feel. So
yeah, and what's kind of neat also is it on vehicles, let's say an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle, you can just have the key on, and the engine does not have to be running to be able to turn your steering wheel.
I kind of laugh because my Polaris RZR also has EPS, electronic power steering, and it's one finger steering. It makes a big difference on something when you don't have it versus when you do. So it's really neat.
And I'll mention this real quick, and then we'll go to the phone calls.
Okay.
The what happens when they put things like electronic power steering, and of course when they did away with the throttle cable,
right?
They have all these backup modes in there, and they may cut a light on, but they'll go to a limp home mode, so you're not completely stranded. For instance, a lot of cars, if something happens to the throttle body itself, to where you're not able to, let's say it don't understand a signal, and it don't want to take a chance on giving you more gas than you should, then it may go into a limp home mode to where the engine will only idle at, say, 1,000 RPMs, and that's enough to keep the car moving and get you to a shop. Okay, where we're going to?
Yeah, let's go back to Larry. We lost him because we went to break, so let's touch a little bit more on his tire light.
Hello, Larry. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, I had turned off the radio because I didn't want any interference. And when I got back to the radio, I heard you say, that might work just fine, but you ought to keep it.
Okay, Larry.
Like, okay, because another person is telling me, if you put in too big a carburetor, that will cause inefficient burning, and you'll waste gas and have lower efficiency.
Oh, okay. This isn't entirely. Sorry, I got confused there.
Yeah, this is with the
So
carburetor.
this is about the carburetor.
Gotcha.
I don't want to put in too big a carburetor, but on the other hand, I don't want it too small.
Right. Larry, is the carburetor already on this vehicle?
It is now.
Yeah, and you've I didn't know if this was something you were just now installing, but you've driven it obviously a good bit and everything?
No, I'm just now finishing up and fixing to go take it to the duals.
Well, okay, gotcha. Well, I can tell you just from
the last part is, will I have an efficient carburetor or will I have one that's wasting gas?
Well, it just really depends on how it's adjusted. Of course, that's what I was going to mention. Edelbrock has 2 different screws to set the fuel ratio. And, of course, you can set it really rich to have, of course, a little bit more power on top end. You can lean it out at idle. So, as long as the technician that's working on the vehicle can actually adjust it properly, you will have an efficient carburetor. Just, again, as long as it's not loading up at idle, running rich, you got to get it just right to where it's just lean and rich at the same time at idle, and then you shouldn't have any problem. And I can tell you just from experience, I know several different 351s with a 750, and they're very efficient, fun to drive, make plenty of power.
Well, now I get the answer. Well, because that's what I really want.
Right.
But I was afraid I was making a mistake.
Oh, yeah, because most people put, the 289s, the 302s, they put a 650 Edelbrock on it, the 1406 carburetor. And then when you get up to the little bit bigger displacement, the 351s, even some of the 352s, 400s, they put a 750 on it.
Okay. Are you going to be on this? Will this be a regular thing? Because next week I would like to hear 2 minute again.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be there.
If you want us to be here, Larry, we'll be here.
You just
I want you
call
to
the
be
shots.
I definitely do. I won't take up any more of your time this morning, and thank you for resolving a complicated question.
Thank you for the call.
And we very much appreciate it. And the number, again, if you're riding around the Charleston area or any of the other areas, if you're listening to this, and it's Saturday 8 to 10, just give us a call and we will answer your automotive question.
That's right.
And we're filled with tips and tricks and different things that you might be able to talk about. And today, right now, what we're talking about mostly has to do with warning lights that you might see on your vehicle.
Right.
And trying to give some ideas of what you may need to do if a warning light does come on. Mm-hmm. And many times I get phone calls, people may pull over or ruin a trip or take. I had one person that said their check engine light come on and they were on a long trip somewhere, and they took the whole day and went to a repair facility to have that looked at, and it turned out just to be a EVAP code. In an EVAP code, evaporative emission type system, is not going to harm the vehicle at all. It's not going to affect the driving at all, and it could be something as simple as an item having. Well,
even of course, don't forget there's bulb out indicators and stuff like that. You definitely don't want to ruin a trip for that.
Oh, and we also want to mention some of our great people there in the Charleston area.
Oh yeah,
that are part of the show and sponsors of the show.
Right,
and that would be Kenny Morrison over there at Morrison's Auto Service.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic shop there, and we also have East Cooper Auto Pros.
Right,
they're a great group over there, and Bob McCormack, he's a great guy. I've talked to him many times, and we appreciate them and appreciate all the Napa Auto Care centers around there. And that's one thing we want to make sure that we mention on a regular basis is that if you're looking for a good repair shop in a relationship with a shop, you can go to NapaAutoCare.com and you can do a little search and find a shop that is right for you. And it's getting time to close this and down. I want to thank all of you for riding with us, whether you tuned in or logged in. We appreciate you riding with us on the C Auto Show, and it's time to shut this hour down, but we'll be cranking up a whole new hour before you know it. You can catch us on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, and that's at the C Auto Show. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you again very soon.
I have found that one of the most important ingredients to quality car repair, whether you're repairing it yourself or having it repaired, is to use good quality parts. That's why I've been using and recommending Napa parts for many years. They fit, They work and they last, and they have the Napa name backing that up. Professionals do not like having to do a job over, and that's why so many professional shops use Napa Auto Parts. My guess is that you don't want to do the job over either, and that's why you should use Napa Parts also. So for a Napa Auto Parts store near you, go to NapaOnline.com and search for the store that is most convenient for you. You'll also see a lot of neat specials and some very useful information. So get the good stuff. Get Napa Auto Parts.